Your budget request, Mr. Secretary, $2.1 billion for Amtrak. It's a cut of $327 million from last year's funding levels. To what extent did the Federal Railroad Administration consult Amtrak when it developed the $2.1 billion estimate for fiscal year 2027?
Well, Congresswoman, it's good to see you. If you recall, we started the ovarian cancer caucus together, which
remember it
was
very well.
and you have been a warrior on that issue, and I think America and those women who have ovarian cancer need someone like you to fight for them. So thank you for that. And if it's touched your life, someone in your life, you know how important it is, and this body needs to pay attention to it. So thank you for that. So we submit, as you know, there's a back and forth that we have with the administration, with OMB, and there are submissions that we make, and we work together and come up with a strategy and a set of numbers to submit to this body. But I would join you. I think that Amtrak is important. Our ridership is up. We're dynamically pricing, which as a business model, it's great. As a rider, it's not great because some of my prices go up when I'm traveling. I'd like to
Did you consult with Amtrak, though, in terms of the $2.1 billion for fiscal 2027?
Amtrak weighs in
Subscribe,
on.
God bless you. Welcome back, fellow Patriots. This is your channel name, where we expose big government waste, fight for fiscal sanity, and defend America First policies every single day. Today, we're reacting to the latest episode of Democrat outrage theater in Congress. The video is titled, Rosa DeLauro presses Sean Duffy on several $100 million cut to Amtrak funding. Rosa DeLauro, the longtime Democrat from Connecticut, is grilling Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy in a House Transportation Committee hearing over a proposed $327 million cut to Amtrak funding. She's acting like this is some national emergency for the Northeast Corridor. Listen to this. DeLauro is going on about how critical Amtrak is to the economy, her constituents, jobs, schools, the usual sob story. She's complaining that the budget request is only $2.1 billion, down from previous levels, and that Amtrak didn't submit its own independent funding request. She's pushing for more taxpayer dollars for rail. Patriots, let's cut through the noise. Amtrak has been a money-losing operation for decades. It's a classic example of government inefficiency, heavily subsidized, poor on-time performance outside the Northeast Corridor, and constantly begging for more handouts while private industry and freight rail actually turn a profit. As a right-wing patriot who believes in limited government, fiscal responsibility, cutting waste, and letting the free market work, my take is straightforward.
Ms. DeLauro.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, I want to talk a little bit about rail, investments in rail, including Amtrak, critical importance to the economy, particularly to my constituents and those who live along the Northeast Corridor and rely on the service to connect them with their schools, with their jobs, including myself. I take Amtrak twice a week and love it. So I know that the Northeast Corridor rail line is a service, it's a lifeline. It's $6 trillion to the economic region, which spans from 12 states from Virginia to Maine. The budget request that we received from the department through OMB. In addition to that, we've historically received a grant request directly from Amtrak. This year, the Amtrak Board of Directors, which you are a member, has chosen not to submit its independent funding request to the Congress. I appreciate receiving the department's request, your views on this. Having the separate request from Amtrak in years past has been critical. It helps the committee to fully understand how best to provide the resources to meet Amtrak's needs. And while the chair of the subcommittee and I may disagree on the overall THUD bill that passed out of the subcommittee this morning, I want to say a thank you to Chairman Womack for including language that will make it a requirement for Amtrak to submit a funding request in the future. Your budget request, Mr. Secretary, $2.1 billion for Amtrak. It's a cut of $327 million from last year's funding levels. To what extent did the Federal Railroad Administration consult Amtrak when it developed the $2.1 billion estimate for fiscal year 2027?
Well, Congresswoman, it's good to see you. If you recall, we started the ovarian Cancer Caucus together, which
remember it
was
very well.
and you
Thank
have
you.
been a warrior on that issue, and I think America and those women who have ovarian cancer need someone like you to fight for them. So thank you for that. And if it's touched your life, someone in your life, you know how important it is, and this body needs to pay attention to it. So thank you for that. So we submit, as you know, there's a back and forth that we have with the administration, with OMB, and there are submissions that we make, and we work together and come up with a strategy and a set of numbers to submit to this body. But I would join you. I think that Amtrak is important. Our ridership is up. We're dynamically pricing, which as a business model, it's great. As a rider, it's not great because some of my prices go up when I'm traveling. I'd like to
Did you consult with Amtrak, though, in terms of the $2.1 billion for fiscal 2027?
Amtrak weighs in on their viewpoint, and again we work with. There's a lot of different components that go into putting this product together to submit to you.
It's my understanding, though, and I just wanted to, your request is 327 below 2026, but the capital plan that Amtrak has laid out calls for 2.4 billion in federal appropriations, which is what they say is necessary to continue passenger operations, their capital state of good repair activities for 2027. So I've got some concern that capital and state of a state of good repair work may go unaddressed at the lower level. What are the implications, if any, if Amtrak is funded at the lower level?
Well, I think what's happened with Amtrak is our revenues are up.
Right.
Which is
applaud that.
Which is
And that's the
helpful.
Northeast Corridor.
People are riding, right? That's great. And by the way, in Connecticut, we've made, as I think you're aware, a lot of investments on rail. And you're a critical juncture for rail. And we've made a lot of investments there. But I think with the ridership and the extra resources that are coming in, I think that's how we see the bridge being met. As we look at what does the Congress need to provide to Amtrak, and what can Amtrak do on their own because of the great success of Amtrak in this environment, and the ridership and the dynamic pricing.
Well, I would just say, look, I'm going to look forward to hearing from an independent Amtrak as well in the future. I appreciate that, and to working with the chairman to fully understand what Amtrak needs to support its rider. I applaud, the increased ridership, et cetera, because it is such a vital and valuable economic engine. So, and that, I'm for continuing to invest in rail and building the progress that we have.
Could I mention one other thing on Amtrak?
Sure.
We've worked with the unions, and we've worked with other stakeholders. And I'd love to work with you as well when we get to that point, but maybe you've heard of this. We're trying to look, I don't look to Europe all the time as a model of how I want to do things, but they do rail way better than we do.
Their
They're way
rail
better.
is exquisite.
And so we want to take some lessons on how they've structured their rail and apply them here. We're the only ones that do rail this way, and I think if we rethink the model, how it's structured, not privatized, I will not, no. But I think if we do a different structure, it's going to be better for states, and I think we're going to get better purview into how the money is being spent. And so I would, as we work through that, I would welcome your input and insight into what we're thinking about. But I think we can do even better.
Look forward to that. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Now yield back.
This $327 million cut is not only reasonable, it's necessary. After years of reckless Biden-Harris spending that fueled inflation and ballooned the national debt, we finally have adults in the room under President Trump trying to get spending under control. DeLauro represents one of the most liberal districts in the country. She's been in Congress forever, voting for every bloated spending bill that comes along. Now she's shocked that we're not just rubber stamping more money for Amtrak.
Give me a break.
Sean Duffy, as Transportation Secretary, is right to prioritize. America needs better roads, bridges, airports, and freight rail that actually moves goods efficiently. High-speed rail fantasies and endless Amtrak subsidies are black holes for taxpayer money. Look at California's bullet train disaster. Billions wasted with almost nothing to show for it. That's the Democrat model. Promise the world, deliver inefficiency and cost overruns. Here's the deeper truth, Patriots. Democrats love passenger rail because it fits their big government, anti-car, climate agenda. They want to force Americans out of their trucks and cars into government-run trains while they fly private jets. Meanwhile, real economic engines like trucking, American energy production, and manufacturing get strangled by regulations. Amtrak's losses are legendary. Outside the busy Northeast, ridership is low and fares don't cover costs. Why should hardworking taxpayers in red states subsidize luxury rail service for East Coast elites? Secretary Duffy is smart to push for efficiency, better management, and perhaps more private sector involvement or state partnerships instead of endless federal bailouts. DeLauro complains about no independent request from Amtrak's board. Maybe that's because under new leadership, they're finally being realistic instead of playing budget games to extract maximum taxpayer dollars. Duffy mentioned increased ridership and dynamic pricing. That's the free market working. Success should mean less subsidy, not more. This hearing exposes the core difference. Democrats believe government should endlessly expand and spend. Patriots believe government should be efficient, targeted, and respect the hard-earned money of American families. With $35+ trillion in debt, we can't afford sacred cows like Amtrak anymore. Real infrastructure wins come from fixing what we have, cutting red tape, so private companies can build, and prioritizing projects with actual returns on investment, not feel-good rail lines that lose money year after year. Patriots, if you're tired of career politicians like Rosa DeLauro treating your tax dollars like an unlimited ATM for failing government programs, smash that like button right now. Subscribe and turn on notifications because we're breaking down this Washington waste daily. Drop your comment below. Should we cut Amtrak funding even more and force efficiency, or keep subsidizing it forever? Do you support America First fiscal responsibility? Share this video with every taxpayer, every truck driver, and every frustrated American who's sick of government inefficiency. We stand for a strong, prosperous America with responsible spending, secure borders, energy dominance, and government that works for the people, not the other way around. God bless our hardworking taxpayers, God bless President Trump, and God bless the United States of America. I'll see you in the next video. Stay vigilant, Patriots.